Okay, so before I start talking about what is the best bots to install for your Discord, I think there's a lot of different dependencies. One of them, so before we talk about which bots works for you the best, in part one, you will learn about the foundations. So there are hierarchy between bots. Some bots, I think you should pay more attention to them than others, and then we're going to talk about the methodology on how we decide on which bots. And then in the second part, we will go over some of the best bots to use within the in the Discord space. There are kind of like different hierarchies for bots. I think before you even think about doing fun bots or bots that could make your community look extremely lively, you should think fundamentally about moderations, because no matter how big or how small you are, this is the first set of bots that you have. So for us, a moderation includes banning bad words, but also includes logging. So before you think about any other bots, that's kind of like the first option you should pick. And then depending on what kind of server you are, there's different, we call it special purpose bots. So for example, if you are a commercial server, you have a very different set of needs compared to a social server where people are just having fun with each others. So think about those special purpose bots. We're gonna go over some of it that we think are really popular, whether you are an RPG server or if you are kind of like a support driven server. And then finally add a lot of fun bots. So one of the really interesting things about fun bots is music bots. This is the most popular topic within Discord. If you search for Google, everybody looks for a Discord bot. So we're gonna go over some of the Discord bots for music that we see are good, and they are and why you should not overthink them. So before you decide what bots to use, here are some of the factors that you should think about. First is around size. Different bots, so bigger community has very different set of needs compared to smaller communities. And I would say there's not a lot of bots that can handle both large community and small community the same way. And that is the most fundamental reason is because of configurations. So in a smaller community, you don't necessarily care about your branding, color. You don't necessarily care that much. So you just want a bot that's really easy. Like you install it, you can play it right there. But if you're a really big community, you want it to be your color, you want, for example, if you do quest, the point name to be your point name. So configurations is quite important. And configuration basically means that this bot is hard to set it up, right? And you would have to spend a little bit of effort into setting everything up before you can play it. And then the third thing people don't realize this much about is basically members' time. How much time do you want users to play with bot versus playing with others? This is something you don't necessarily realize, but every single time you introduce a bot, there is always sacrifice that you make, especially in fun bots. People think that you are spending time in my server, that's good. That's not necessarily the case, because they could literally just be playing a bot and they don't care about any other human being. And some bots are designed to be addicting. But on the other hand, they are staying in your communities for whatever reasons, right? So that's kind of like a challenge that you have to decide. And depending on how much time you want people to spend talking to others or talking to bots, you have very different options here. So our methodologies at the very beginning, when we start this journey of looking at which bots that you should install, we go over kind of like the normal things people do, right? We go to top.gg, and Me6 is clearly probably the most popular bot everybody knows about and everybody hates. But because we're data driven and we do see a good amount of bots happening in other communities, we thought a really cool exercise would be to look at how many bots are in a subsample of the servers that we are in. So this is the chart that you see. It is really surprising to me as well, because the first bot, the most popular bot, is not a Me6. That's not surprising, but it's actually Probot. That is the most popular bot. And I'm going to tell you why Probot is like a really popular bot in all of our server. So this set includes, say, Web3 community. This includes very small communities. This includes communities, commercial, non-commercial, somewhere in between. So it's a pretty good indicators. So the second biggest bot is Arcan. That bot is basically around leveling system. Carabot is really popular. Dino is the one that we use for all servers that we manage because of the login system. The fifth one is Disboard, which I'm going to talk about later. But you can basically see this set of bots. We're going to go over those bots in detail, by the way. And then the second thing that we want to look at is, okay, just because you install a bot doesn't mean that this bot is actually be functioning in your server, right? You can install a bot and just completely forget about it. So the second thing we want to look at is basically what is the usage within the bot? Now, this is kind of tricky because because if the bot send a ton of message within a server, it's not necessarily a good thing. Like, we don't really know if it's a good thing or a bad thing because people could be spamming the bot and hence not talking to your other community members. But for whatever it is, this is the data that we got. Day is a bot that we actually did a special editions on. It is a really cool game bot. I think this is probably one of my favorite game bots out there. And there's other couple bots. OWO is a bot that's specializing in gaming as well. Probot, Probot is like the most installed bot. It also sends a good amount of messages among all the bots that we have. So there is something magical about Probot that a lot of servers are using it to a great amount of extent. So we're going to go over those in details as well. Okay, so other scalability. If you are thinking about wanted to give a new bot a try, right? So we were really young 3 years ago when we just started out. So I don't think there's anything wrong with giving a new bot a try, but there are a couple of things that you should look out for. First is that, are they actively managing the bot, right? It could be if they have a GitHub, they are doing update all the time. It could be they have a support server on Discord and they are actively answering people's questions. So that is really important because bots, they come and go, right? If you want to give a bot a good opportunity, you definitely want to have a way to contact them for support. And then the second part is, if you are extremely big, you should think about scalabilities. So the best example I can give you is Invite Tracker. The reason we know Invite Tracker is probably up 70% of the time. We know this because we used to rely our analytics on Invite Tracker, and we notice we are missing a lot of data. And turn out if you're really, really busy, Invite Tracker fail to basically track activities, right? So in that case, Invite Tracker is really not a great bot, but it's extremely popular. So that's something to think about. Okay, so the best bot ever. First bot I would recommend if I just started out and I want a more comprehensive automod system, just comprehensive of everything, but mostly around the fundamentals. So foundational things like moderations, ban, time, mute, even maybe a welcome log and some sort of a logging system. So those are the basic things you should absolutely have. And I do not want to pay for Me6 because Me6 basically gates everything. Sapphire is the bot that I will pick. It is very nice. It is almost 100% free. It has a ton of features that's related to, that's basically a Me6 alternatives. It is very reliable. I would say that so far we haven't really heard a lot of complaint. And you can see it from the dashboard side. They do have a good amount of different things. AI moderation is kind of like a really interesting feature. I can get more into it, but custom messages for welcome log, moderation case, role management. So it really has everything. It is if you want like one bot down and set, that is the bot for you. Okay, so specifically around the things that it can do, one of the things that I know everybody asks for within Me6, we see is super popular, is basically social integrations. So integrate with your X, with your Twitch, with your YouTube, and Me6 gated behind paywall. They gate everything. Sapphire actually give it to you for free, which is really cool. I think that's kind of like the coolest feature why you would maybe even consider switching from Mi6 to Sapphire. Welcome log, I'm going to talk more about that. So basically when a person come in, there is a notification saying, oh, welcome this user coming in. And you can actually, if you are moderators, if you're a server owner, you can then tag this user and start a conversation right there. Automod. So Automod is basically everything around timing, banning, link. So we remove the message if there's a link. We could time out the user if he said something bad. So everything around that. Basic functions, I think Sapphire does it really well. It also has this really cool feature where it would automatically delete threads that is not supposed to be in this channel. I think in a lot of, we see this problem quite often in good amount of server. So what happened is that this is supposed to be a read-only channel, say an announcement channel, but for whatever reason, users are able to create threads so they can make a comment about it. And if you don't want this to happen, Sapphire would just automatically delete that thread, which is a really like well thought features, I would say. And finally, around moderations, this is some people actually ask us for this feature as well. But the general idea is, oh, you see this message is not good. You want to get rid of this message. It is really hard to do. I don't know how they do it, but they do have this feature with some, it's a beta feature with some rate limit. It's interesting. I think you should, you should check it out. It looks very interesting to me. Okay, so why is Probot so popular? One of the reasons why Probot is so popular is because it's really pretty. If you look at your dashboard, it's really pretty. It does a good amount of function, just like Sapphire, just like Dino, just like Mi6. But one of the coolest things they can do, which is mostly used, is basically customized welcome message. You can create customized banner, customized color. You can randomize what you want to say to this user when he joined the communities. And so I think this is like literally the reason why people are using Probot. They want to have the ability to customize welcome messages. We use Dino in our communities, in almost all the communities. And the biggest reason is because of logging systems. So Vic, for example, is another bot that we recommend on the security side. A good amount of bots does logging. Almost all bots does logging. But one of the problems that we have is scalability. Like we want to make sure all events are being recorded. And so far, Dino is our favorite logging bot. We might not use it for anything, just logging. Is because it is the most reliable bot out there. And Carbot is kind of like our fourth most popular bot in the list of server that's using different bots. People use Carbot for role reaction. So you can kind of like have a channel and say, oh, are you a creator? Do you like baking? Where are you from? How do you like to be addressed? So you can click and you can get that role automatically. So that's what Carbot is most famous for. It can be served as a moderation bot, but I don't think in terms of moderation, it is at the scale compared to, say, a Sapphire or Probot. Oh, by the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it there. Okay, so I want to just talk about our bot. If you're not familiar with our bot, we focus specifically on AI. I think this is a very controversial topic because on Reddit, everybody just tell me they hate AI. But we focus mostly on utility features. So things that help you make it easy, make your life slightly easier. So AI support, when we do game features, the entire goal is basically to get your user to chat with other users through Hype Engine. So that's something you look for regardless of bots, like how much time people are spending in your bot versus talking to people. And finally, we do a lot of data analytics. Well, in reality, there's really not a lot of AI bots on Discord. So I'm going to just claim that we are the best AI bots so far out there. Okay, so in terms of leveling bots, I'm going to give you guys a good, some recommendations for it because it is really, really popular in terms of the special utility bots segment. So Arcane, everybody knows. It's an invite. It's tracking level. So the more you talk, the higher level you get. You can specify things like how many minutes should the user wait before he can get points, how many points per level, And you can even do things like how many points will you automatically assign a user to this particular level. So everything is around chatting. There is some mechanism to help you prevent spam, but I would say it's just chatting. It's quite easy. We've seen a lot of communities that's using Arcan to do chat competition, which all end up horribly. This is another stories, but Arcan has the features for it. Second bot that we recommend, which is less obvious, is Unbelievable. Um, the amount of fun bot we start to know Unbelievable because we were looking at fun bots, but it is really not a fun bot because you can do so much more customizations around your communities. It has exactly the same feature as Arcan. You can have things like chatting to level up, earn points, but it is more fun, it is more customizable, and also has a good amount gambling feature, which is how people would normally think about this as a fun bot. But I would say you can customize points, colors, you can have your own shop, you can ask people to redeem points in order to, say, have a role within your points, which I think is probably a better way to do mechanism around incentivizing members to kind of like chat more within your communities. So one of the caveats with leveling bot is you are literally incentivize people to chat more. This could be good and this could be bad. People could like literally not talk to anybody, just chat like crazy people without actually trying to make friends, right? So if you see something like this happen, I would recommend you to stop because it makes the server looks kind of robotic. Okay, so special utility bot, I'm gonna talk about invite tracker, Subo, I say YAGPDB. It's called yet another generic bot, Zyno, ticketing, and Vic. Invite tracker is really popular among all the Web3 server that we are in. And the reason is because they always do invite competitions. So you can track how many people they've invited, and that's basically all you can track. There's a couple downside to it. One is it is not really scalable. So if you have like a ton of community, a ton of activity, you should expect that invite tracker is not going to capture all of them. And the second thing is basically it is really easy to attract bots. It does not have any anti-bot features into it. So you could have 10 odd account and you would have no problems getting into it. If you really wanted to do invite tracker, you should pair it with our analytics. There is a free version for it, and you can basically track based on the Discord invite code, and you can track how many people have chatted, have verified, and how many messages they've chatted. Those are much better indicators to see the quality of a campaign compared to just what invite tracker is providing. We listed here because there is no alternative to a native invite tracker management system, and it is really popular, and we just want to point out the shortage for you. Subo is one of our favorite bots. We use it whenever we want a feedback from the community and we want it to be private. We want people to feel comfortable in giving us the real answer. And also, I'm kind of lazy in drafting the actual questions, or I want AI to help me refine it. So it is cool because it is using AI to, say, summarize answers to help you draft better questions, but it's not invasive, right? It's not like I'm completely replacing human with AI. It is data privacy focused. So if you want to do some sort of a survey and you think this is a sensitive topic, Subo is a really good bot. It is very special purpose, and they literally only do surveys. So it's a no-brainer when you need it or not. So the best moderation bot, hands down, I have to give it to YAGPDB. I think I actually don't know how to pronounce it properly. The reason is because it is perfect for a really large server who wants to literally customize everything. They have so the mode, it's called advanced auto mode. And you can set up, for example, regex to figure it out what patterns that you want. And then you can decide, okay, if this condition happen, what do you want to do? So you could literally set up thousands of custom rules that you want within the community and do proper moderation actions. And because it has such a large amount of moderation feature, it is so complicated to use. That's why, for example, we don't use it, because I don't have very particular feelings about how I want people to behave. I just don't want them to spam other people. But if you are, say, a RPG server, or even in very niche case, like this RPG server in this particular channel, people have to talk in a particular way, this is the bot for you. You can have absolute control over everything over it. And I think the original creator for YAGPDB was from Me6, and they were kind of very angry at how Me6 was gating everything, and that's kind of how they created this bot. So if you're a large server, this is the best moderation bot out there. Xano is interesting because it takes care of like the extreme end in different server situations. So when you're really small, one of the biggest questions we've heard people talk about is, oh, I want I want my server to look really pretty. First of all, I think you should focus on function and pretty. But if you want to go down that route, Xano provide a lot of what they call a community template. So you can look at this template, goes like, whoa, this is really pretty, and you can just copy it. On the back end, it also does all the role management for you. So it is quite functioning. If you are extremely large, I think one of the concern is you wanted to have a backup for your server in case something happened, you got nuked. So Xano provides backup for your particular bot. So like includes everything, right? Role management, channels, UI, and also messages. It's quite expensive, I would say, on the large side if you want to back up from them, but they provide it for you. I would say that usually I would use it if I'm a really big server, say again, say a gaming server or server that has really interesting conversation happening. I know in cases where people literally got nuked and they wanted to recover back and they just like couldn't do it. So Xano is a good kind of like an insurance that you buy. By the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a message on the chat. Okay, so ticketing. Maybe this is controversial, I'm not sure. So in the ticketing space, there are two big bots, Ticket King and Ticketing. And we've used both across different server in different stages. And I can tell you that Ticketing is the one that we like more than Ticket King. There's a couple reasons for it. First is that with Ticket King, it is very hard to manage when you have, say, 500 tickets open, right? In those cases, what I want is a bot that could categorize it for me automatically so that different mods can answer different questions. And the second part about ticketing is closing ticket is a pain in the ass, right? You have to tell people, I'm going to close the ticket if you have any questions. And then you have to wait, and maybe the moderator is off the shift. The next moderator, they forgot about the ticket. So you have tickets hanging on forever. And one of our favorite feature within ticketing is basically auto close and auto remind. So you can do something like, you tell this user, I'm going to close the ticket in half an hour. You can run the command, and ticketing would send a reminder to this user, goes like, oh, you should, do you have any other questions? If they have any questions, then the ticket will not be closed. If they don't, then the ticket will automatically close after, say, X amount of hours. Okay, there is a question from Daniel. Can you provide more detail on how to use referral link bot with community one to provide more cyber protection, or at least incentivize better invites? Okay, I would say first, you should never reward user just based on how many invites they've done, right? If you say the more invites, invite competition, number one invites got the point, of course, you're gonna have a ton of bots coming in. Second thing is that make sure you have a good verification bot. This will help slightly. This is perfect. For example, we use VicBot. VicBot does things like it automatically quarantine users if they come in too fast. So having a good bot, verification bot, solve part of the problems. And the third thing is you wanted to reward user. You can say something less cannot be gamed so easily, right? Say something like, okay, we will give 2 rewards out. One to the user that give us the most amount of invite, and the second to the highest quality, to the highest quality invite group. So what does highest quality mean? Like this is something so weird. Nobody is gonna game it. But this is the part where you can use our analytics to look at, okay, this invite link has maybe only 10 people, but they chatted 100 messages, versus this invite link have 100 people and they chatted 3 messages, right? So then you can say, okay, this group that has 10 members chatted 100 messages, you're gonna give them a reward as well. So you're making intentionally vague, and then you tell user at the end of the campaign saying that, okay, we are also gonna give this user this amount of reward. The reason is because a lot of people that he invited are actually actively engaging within our communities. So then you can, at least you can somehow balance it, right? So this is how you can, like, I think that part of the analytics is free, so you just install a bot and you can also start tracking it that way. So Vic has a really good feature within the Vic is our favorite pick for the security side. The reason is because it does have a good amount of other security features at the back end. So if they notice that you are deleting 10 channels all of a sudden fanatically, they would just automatically lock you so that you couldn't do it, right? So those are the features. But Vic is asking you for a premium version for features like anti-nuke or anti-raid. If you want a cheaper version, but very similar to Vic, security bot is kind of like your alternative to pick. But a verification bot is really important if you are doing incentive-based invite competitions. Okay, about music bots. This is like the most popular topic. This is the most searched things on Google. In fact, people don't even search for the best disco bot. People search for the best music disco bot. First is you should not really overthink this. The magic of a music bot is people listening to music together. And you can really listen to music any way you want. You can literally just open up a stream, share your YouTube and start listening to music together. And I would say that a good amount of server that we notice that host events, this is how they do it. They don't even use any bots. They're just like, I can use Discord to do this. Live stream to do this. But if you really want a really cool bots, Rhyme Core would be the one that we love and we put it in our server. The reason is because it is suitable when you are really small. So in our server, for example, we don't do live activity just because we don't have enough like user just hanging out at the same time. But like if this user wants to come in and chat a little bit, at least there's like an AI person that can entertain with this user listening to music. And sometimes we have informal music section where people just play different music, cue different music, and we'll all listen to the same time. So Rhymecore is the one that I really like. It really has a good high quality music. Like I think the music is relatively high quality. Lara and Jockey Music, those are the more traditional kind of like the music bots that people like. I think people like them because it's free. And then finally you have Rhyme. Rhyme is for large groups. So like for going back to the original case where you have, you put a YouTube and everybody listen to music. This is that version, but officially. So you use Rhyme as an official Discord activity to do it. But I think a lot of people overestimate the magic of music bots. Just because you have a music bot doesn't mean that your server is going to get more active. Like the most effective thing you can do if you want to get more active is like host a watch party together, and in a watch party, everybody just listen to music. Like you cannot, like the music bot does not replace human involvement in this day. Like human involvement is the most important thing into making your community looks better. There's a question. How many bots are too many for one server? I would say this is hard, but I've definitely seen a lot of communities has way too many bots. So going back to the original point, moderation bots, you need 1 or 2. They needed two different features. So for us, we would, if we have Me6, but if we don't have Me6, we would have to Discord Automod, Sapphire, and Dino for logging. That's it. But Sapphire for mostly moderation related stuff. And then I add special utility purpose bot, right? If I do invite competition, I would do like invite tracker. If I worry about bots, I would do Vic. If I want to do survey, I would do Subo. So those are the bots like you know for sure you want it or you don't need it. And then the fun bots, I would say go slow, don't add too many. the last thing you want is there are more bots and more channel for bots than there are people talking. And then the other thing you want to notice is like time and attention is a finite resource. So if people are playing one feature in your server or one bot in your feature, they're not playing the others. So another thing you can do is just potentially kick out the bot. If there's too many and nobody is playing any, I would recommend you to just start with one. You'd rather have one bot and not confuse anybody about what to play than having 10 bots and nobody knows what to play. But this is definitely a problem that we've seen. Okay, finally, fun bots. Okay, so this is a good segue for it, I guess. Everybody thinks fun bot. So first, I want to say there's absolutely nothing replace human involvement. Like we do AI bots, and we still tell you that like AI cannot replace human. Like people are there to talk to other human beings. Same thing, fun bots cannot replace human. The most effective way for you to engage with your users is by you talking to your users, not a bot talking to your users. Fun bot comes in when there's kind of like a downtime in between where nothing is happening, or maybe something is happening soon, and then you're just kind of like in that pocket time, then you want to do something about it. I see server that is literally around a particular bot. So those will be the case of OWO or Day because they are so big, and you have to be really careful about it. I'm going to talk more about this. But in the fun bot section, we've actually did different categories. So first category is the beginner server. So this is when you have like a couple people chatting top. They're really not chatting with each other. You're just really literally just starting. So when you think about a fun bot for your community, I would say do one at a time to start. You want to do a bot where it absolutely does not need any other human being to be involved, and you can have fun with it. So Dank Miner is one that I can think of. It is a very unique case because you can scale with Dank Miner, and you can just do please meme, please bug, please daily, and just have fun with yourself. It is a meme culture. You still need a couple people to really have a meme culture, but like it is fun on its own. It is like entertaining on its own. I wouldn't say it's fun. Akinato is probably one of our favorite because it is so easy. You can have fun on yourself. So Akinato it's like 12 question guessing. So they would think about the characters and object, and the bot would ask you, I think, up to 24 questions, and then they will have a guess on what are you thinking. And if their thought was incorrect, then you win. So there's really not a lot of competition, but you can see how you can make a competition out of it, right? You can say, oh yeah, this is the like you can try to like aim and you can beat the bot per se. So you can have fun yourself. You can have fun with the bot. Yeah, I would. This is the one I would recommend. It is kind of magical, even though you understand how it works. It's still relatively cool. And when you actually get something, you could potentially have a conversation within communities about it. The last one I want to recommend in the small server space is called Taco Shack. So if your community is more, say, business oriented in some way, say like developer oriented, technical, or wanted to be like more serious, Taco Shack basically give you a whole mechanism where you can run a taco shop. So you have to make taco by ingredient, you can upgrade menu, you just have to serve customers and get more money. And once you get enough money, you can have franchise. And once you have franchise, you can make more money. It's a game of making money. But one of the really interesting thing about Taco Shack is that you can literally just play it yourself. It has mechanism where people can play together, right? You can make a competition to say who makes the most amount of money, obviously. And when you have like affiliations, it gets better. But I would say that inherently, it is a one-person playing game. There is another question. If we want user to complete activities on our website, create account, log in, create content, what bot would allow us to reward them for this activity and the best reward? Okay. I think only our bot can allow you to do custom activities and reward user based on custom activities. We also give you API integrations, so you don't have to like manually track to make sure that this user had completed this act. There is Drippy. I think they could do something similar. There used to be a Wonderverse, but I think they pivoted. So those are the bots that's currently like within your options. But I think our bot is still the best. But feel free to check out the rest. And in terms of reward to give it to user, so points comes automatically, right? So the way you think about the reward structure is points come automatically. What the points give you is something that you should think about. And what works really in the Web 2 and Web 3 space is basically around role. So role and ranks are slightly different in my opinion, because for ranks, you automatically get them. So for example, Me6, Arcane, you chat this amount of points, you get this amount of rank. Roles may or may not be automatic. So in Arcane, you can actually give automatic roles after they reach X amount of levels, ranks, I guess, in this case. Roles, it could be like redeemable roles for it. So it could be like, for example, Unbelievable and us, we ask people to spend their points to get this role. So that is a very different mechanism compared to automatically get it. Rank is also related to leaderboard. If you are doing leaderboard, you have to be extra careful because you absolutely want user to be able to reset leaderboard. So one of the really interesting data on our side is when we do, say, a weekly quest, on Thursday, like less than 5% of the new user would play Hype Engine on Thursday. That's because it's kind of like the end of the week, right? People already see something else is on the leaderboard and they go like, there's no chance I can beat it. Then they just give up. So you imagine if you never reset the leaderboard, eventually every single new user coming into your community is going to go like, oh, that leaderboard, impossible to beat. Bye. So you absolutely have to have a way to reset your leaderboard. And that's the rank system. Okay, so once you get to a certain size in terms of fun, so we're talking about maybe 5 to 20 people chatting every single day. So that's kind of like the criteria for us on a smaller server. Here are some of the really cool bots. So Hype Engine is one of them. But Meal Day, if you have to pick a bot for your, say, social server, you're like anime, you want people to like chat and make friends with each other, and you talk about those pop cultural stuff, Meal Day is the bot to go for. Meal Day is really addicting, very fun. People get instant gratification when they collect different anime that they really like. They can go crazy with it. They can collect a lot of them. They can have like a whole collection of Demon Slayer, for example. And most importantly, Meal Day is not predatory. So this is something you don't see at the very beginning because this is a very competitive space. It's called a waifu card collecting space. What happened there is there's Kurata, so that's a really popular alternative. There's Sophia, but because, for example, we take a deep dive into Kurata, and that is something that we absolutely would not recommend to anyone. I guess I'm like saying it on the record. The reason is because there are real money being exchanged in Kurata. And when there's real money being exchanged, what people do is that people take advantage of other people. If you're a newcomer and this is an old comer, a really easy trick to easy scam is they tell you to exchange their card with your cards. And each card, because they are unique, one of a kind, has its own unique value. And if you're a really new member that's just started to play Kurata, you might not know. So you exchange like a really, really good card with a horrible card. And that player went on to sell the card. Imagine that experience within your community. I don't think this person is ever going to talk in your community. Probably leave an angry message there. Kurata, by nature, is one person pit against another. You are enemy from the very beginning, and it is absolutely horrible. Meal Day is a lot more fun. It's a lot more chill. It's more of individual progress, but people can give each other cards. There's like a gifting culture within Meal Day, and it is the most popular bot within our community. I think people are inherently smart enough to say, okay, this is a bot that actually helps me make friendship with each other within the community. So the reason it's for a smaller server rather than just for one is because when you have a couple of people playing, then it's more fun, right? Then you can see more cards and you can collect more cards. You see more variations. You can trade cards. Rumble Royale is the second favorite. It's really popular. And I think it is best when you are having a couple people playing at the same time because the comments are hilarious. They are mostly they are 100% luck based, so there's no like hurting feelings. People would ask us to basically have Rumble Royale in our community, but a more common way that I see most community using it is they will have like a Rumble Royale events. So those events tended to be more low key. Usually you have like a moderator that hop into a voice chat and everybody would just like sign up for Rumble Royale for this round, and then you have a fun laugh about it. So it is kind of like if you have a group of strangers, they don't know each other, and you want to warm up the community, Rumble Royale is a pretty good way to start. By the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat. Okay, finally, for big servers. So the difference between the big server and a small server, in our opinion, is basically the number of events that you can do. So in our definition, there are different kind of type of events as well. There's a really informal one where you just pop into a voice chat and let magic happen. People will get curious. They'll pop into a voice chat and then you have a conversations. And then you have the voice chat where a group of people just play games together. It's semi-organized, but not really. And then in the biggest type, you have the stage events, right? So everybody is mute and then you have a speaker. So those are the events that are really reserved for big server. So the latter two events I would say are for big servers. In a big server, we recommend a couple different bots, and they are designed not to play by themselves, but to play within some sort of a voice or stage channels, because you can have like a really fun character and have a really great laugh about it. It requires skill set because you don't want it to be in the awkward position and the whole thing is just gone. Yes, this live is being recorded. So Gartic is the one. It is very popular. It is a guessing game. It is more chill. It is there's no right answers, right? There's definitely a wrong answers. There's a right answers, but people could be fun. Have fun with it. Truth or dare. This is really popular in Web 2, and I think it could be used more in Web 3. And the reason is because in Web 3 or commercial server, when you're in a commercial server, what happens is that people don't talk about their personal life. People like to talk about, I don't know, how cool AI is or like how much money they make. It's less personal. People tend not to talk about personal stuff. So truth or dare is a great way to kind of like break that ice and to really know this person as a human being. This is really hard because sometimes you could have situations where you just offended this person, or this person does not feel comfortable in telling you about in answering these questions, right? So you need some skills in terms of, like if you don't want to answer this question, that's totally fine. You can also set up PG-13 or I don't know, like the adult version for it, if this is like what fits into your communities. So those are great for live voice events. Trivial bot, we put them in a large server because it is just very boring if you do it by yourself, right? The whole point is to show you're smarter than the other guy. And trivial bot is great if you just wanted to do text-based activities, because it automatically record the answer and automatically give points to the right answer. So we have communities that we can see every Wednesday there is a peak. That's because they're doing a trivial bot and they are just kind of like guessing the questions. That's actually it. Yes. So those are some of our list of the best bots out there. Any other? I'm going to pause for a second to see if any of you have any questions. And I would say from my end, like how we do this personally ourselves, moderation is like the most important thing. I would say one of the things we did not mention here is Discord auto mod. Discord is trying to ramp up the amount of moderations that they are doing. So don't forget, this is always an option, but I don't think they are doing it so comprehensive that you don't need a moderation bot. If you pay, Me6 is not a horrible option at all. I know people hate it, and I know they ask money so aggressively. But if you already paid, like if you want just one bot, like Me6 is good. Dino is always our go-to. And the reason is because of the logging. I would say with Row, so one of the things that Discord launched, I guess 2 years ago, is welcome screen, right? So people click on your server link and they say, you have a couple questions that you can do. don't do that. I would say if you're really small, don't do it. And the reason is because you're required to have, I think, 5 to 7 public channels. And one of the things that we don't want you to do is to have so many channels that everybody can chat in all the channels when you're really small. If you have like 100 messages across 7 channels, like there's only 10 messages per channel versus 100 messages in one channel, that is fundamentally different experience for the user. So in that case, you can replace the welcome screen with a row selection using CardBot. So people verify, and then instead of seeing the entire server, they see a new channel being unlocked. And in that channel, you ask people to select their roles, and then it doesn't matter what role they select, they will see the rest of the channels based on the role that they select. So it is kind of gating, but you can still have the server setup that is best for you. That's how we use CardBot in that case. Vic, I use it when it is security is important. It just gets really annoying if because I quarantine people. So when you use Vic, you have to keep an eye on the log. So we use Vic log as well, so that when you see people got quarantined, you can figure out why they got in quarantine. Is it right that they got quarantined? And just adjust it a little bit. So there was like an adjustment period for Vic, but I trust Vic over any other security bot out there. Oh, okay. Any other questions from anybody else? Okay. And then I guess last thing is, I think people really need to understand that even if you have no bots are magical, you still need human involvement. The best you can do for a community is just like be there. If it's a really small community and you absolutely are too busy to be there like 5 minutes of every day, right? Being consistent does pay you reward over time. And that's better than any other bots. Like bots are supplementary to what you do. It cannot replace the human interactions that you do, especially within the music bot area. With fun bots, I think you can like have fun with, I can auto yourself, for example. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. If there is no question from anyone, I want to thank you for being on this live stream with me. And I'm going to send out the recorded version as well, so that if you want to share it, you can share it with your teammates. And finally, we will send out this presentation so that you can take a look at it. We have 2 blogs that are, we have lots of blogs related to this with different kind of subcategories of bots. And then finally, we have a GitHub. If you are a bot developer, you are actively developing your bot, you have a repo and you have a Discord server for support, you can do a PR with us and we will highlight you as one of those up and coming bots. Let me, I will send it on my follow-up email as well. And thank you everybody for showing up, and I will see you in our next event.